Hello and welcome to this presentation on SAM PowerPoint Project 1. I'm going to pull up a web browser and browse to the SAM site, sam.cengage.com. And there on the SAM site I will log in to my student account. This is the student demo account, Big Red. You will use your student ID there and password. So I've logged in, and when you log in, it defaults to the calendar view. I prefer the activity list view. So if you click on the activity list tab on the SAM site, you will see all the projects that are available for you to work on. Now in this demo, the due dates are empty for all of these. You'll probably have due dates on your screen that'll show you when each of these projects are due. Be sure to complete your projects before the due dates. Click on PowerPoint 1, and it's going to show us a confirmation page. I've already submitted this once before this video, so I have 4 attempts left. You'll see 5 attempts left of your 5 because you haven't submitted any. But let me walk through this with you to do the submission. So when you submit your file, you will have a page for downloading instructions, downloading a start file, and downloading a support file. So start with the instructions. Let's download that and look at it. Now, depending on your browser, what happens when you click on the download instructions is going to be different. Depending on your browser settings, it might pull up the document immediately. It might ask you for a location to save your file. It might do this that says it's going to save your file and getting confirmation. And now that I've saved it, it can say, do you want to open it? Those are settings of your browser. And depending on which browser you're using and depending on your browser settings, it'll be different. But my browser saves files automatically to the download folder, are the settings I have. Now, when you open up Word or PowerPoint or Excel, you get this protected view so that you can kind of see the files. This is what you're expecting it to be. And if it's not, you can close the file without it doing any harm to your machine. Even if there was a virus or something malicious in there, this protected view should keep you pretty safe. But this is the file I want, so I say enable editing, and it puts me into my normal mode for working on this file. I'm going to move this to my far left half of my screen and put my browser back up on the right half of my screen. And there's some setup work here before we get into the project steps that we want to do when working on this or any project. First, it tells us to open the start file. So going back to the browser, after we download the instructions, there's also a link here for the start file. Now the file itself has a long series of characters, in this case scppt16_1a underscore student name. My demo student is Big Red. Your student name will be something different. _1 pptx. And again, I click on this. The exact response to clicking on it's different depending on your browser that you're using and the settings on the browser that you're using. Mine saves it. I click on save and then I click on open. And here is that file. I'm going to put it on the far right of the screen as well, so my screen is split between my instructions on the left and the file on the right. After we open the file, our setup instructions tell us to save this file using the same long sequence, same student name, _2. In other words, you're changing the 1 to a 2. So back on this file, yes, this is a file that I expected it to be, so I'm going to turn off protected mode and allow me to edit the file. And then I'm going to do a save as. Save as allows you to create a copy or change the name. So I'm going to do save as, and I have to figure out where I'm going to save it. I always put my files, you can see downloads is where the _1 is. I'm going to go to the desktop for this _2. So in all these videos, I will always save the file that I'm working on to be uploaded into the desktop so I'll know where it's at when I submit. Okay, so we've done that step. Now another getting ready step here is to download the support file, and I'm going to wait and actually download the support file when we get to that point in the project. And then finally, with this file still open, the pp2x the student name underscore x pptx file open, it tells us to ensure that your first and last name appear in the presenter notes on the first slide. So on the first slide, the presenter notes at the bottom says this file created specifically for, and that should be your student name there. In this case, mine is Big Red because that's my student for this demo. So we're ready to go. This project has, I'm going to scroll down and see 13 steps in it and a figure what it's supposed to look like when we're done. So let's work through these 13 steps together. The first step says this: you're working on a presentation for Great Lakes Gardening, an organization that helps people in the Midwest establish vegetable gardens. Start by formatting slide 1, which should have the title text Backyard Vegetable Gardens, by doing the following. So slide 1, Backyard Vegetable Gardens, yes, that's the correct title text. First thing to do is change the subtitle font color to be orange accent 2. The subtitle is this text here, Tips for Starting Your First Garden. And I want to select this entire subtitle text. There's a couple ways to do it. I could drag across everything, that would work. Or I could triple click. A single click moves the cursor, and a double click highlights a single word, but a triple click highlights an entire paragraph. So however you do it, you want to select the entire paragraph, including this little space at the end of the text. So you want to make sure you get the whole thing. And then change the font color to be orange accent 2, which you'll find in the 6th column and the first row of the themes color palette. So if I go under the Home tab, in the font group of the Home tab, there is a font color option, and on the drop-down list by that font color, I can pull up this palette that has the theme colors at top and standard colors at the bottom. In the theme colors group, I can change the color to be orange accent 2, which is the 6th column. This whole column is orange accent 2, and the top one is just orange accent 2, but then we have these slight variations where it's orange accent 2 lighter 80%, orange accent 2 lighter 60%, all the way down to orange accent 2 darker 25%, and orange accent 2 darker 50%. But our instructions are just to say orange accent 2, so I'm going to use the first column, the first row of this 6th column. It also says, our instructions say, to change the subtitle font text to 28 point. So with the entire subtitle selected, change the font size to 28 point. Step 2 says, on slide 2, which should have the title Why Plant a Vegetable Garden. So let me confirm that. Select slide 2, Why Plant a Vegetable Garden question. Create a bulleted list in the left content placeholder with the following text. So my text is save money, grow healthy food, and enjoy a rewarding activity. Step 3 says on slide 3, that should have the title What Should You Plant? So on slide 3, What Should You Plant? It says to proportionally resize the picture so it's approximately 4.5 inches wide, and then use smart guides to position the picture as shown in this figure all the way on the right margin and vertically just below, horizontally just below the horizontal line under the title. So I want to resize this proportionally, and I can see right now that it's doing a proportional resize. It's growing vertically and horizontally at the same rate, so that's good. But I don't want to just try to eyeball 4.5 inches. Instead, when you select the image, a format tab becomes visible in the ribbon, and in this format tab I can change the image or the picture, some of the properties of it. There's a size group, and I'm going to change this to 4.5. Now as I move this picture around, you'll notice that these little guidelines pop up in various places, including the middle horizontally and the middle vertically. So it's a good way to know you're centering things. I want to bring this all the way to the right margin and all the way to the top. so that both those guidelines are popping up, and then I'll release it there. Step 4, duplicate slide 3 so that it becomes the new slide 4, and then do some things to the new slide 4. So I've got slide 3, what should you plant, and slide 4 is something different. And I want to duplicate this. The easiest way to do that is to right click and say duplicate slide. Now slide 3 is what should you plant with the image, and slide 4 is what should you plant with the image. So we have a duplicate or a copy of this. And our instructions say duplicate slide 3 and then edit the new slide 4 as follows. So make sure slide 4 is selected and do the following things. Change the slide title to be where should the garden go, and change the bulleted list. So I'm going to select that text and change it to be full sun, plenty of water, and good soil. All good advice for where your garden should go. On to the next step, step 5. On slide 5, which should have the title row crops, and it does, change the slide layout to be title and content. Do this by right-clicking on the slide in the navigation area here. There is a layout option, and in the windows that pop up, the layouts that pop up, I want to do title and content. I believe it said, yes, title and content. So I select that and change the layout for this slide. Slide 6, with slide 5 still being displayed, italicize the word north in the last bullet to emphasize the word. So the word north in the last bullet, I'm going to select that and italicize it. I can do it by using the pop-up window, or I can go into the Home tab and in the font group select italics. Either way, it'll have the same effect. Next step is step 7. It says on slide 6, which should have the title of intensive crops, and it does, create a multi-level bulleted list in the content placeholder with the following text. And I can see that the text has divide plot into small beds, and then it has 2 lines, 1 foot square and up to 16 plants in each square, and those are indented over one. So let's show you how we do those. So I just start typing divide plot into small beds. But when I get to this next line of 1 foot square, I want that to be indented. And the way to do that is make sure the cursor is on this line and then go under the Home tab, and in the paragraph group there is this option of increase list level. And when you click on increase list level, that 1 foot square, or whatever paragraph was highlighted, where the cursor was, that entire paragraph will be moved to the right. When you go to the end and press enter, the new bullet arrives and it has the same indentation level as the one above. So if I say up to 16 plants in each square, that's at the same level. And this next line, mix vegetables with herbs and flowers, I don't want that to be indented. I want it to go back to the previous level. So making sure the cursor is somewhere on this line, going into the Home group and the Home tab, the paragraph group, do the decrease list level button. And now my text on slide 6 looks like the instruction text for step 7 in the instructions. Back to the instructions, step number 8 says, after slide 6, insert a new slide 7 using the section header layout, and then do some things to that new slide. Well, first, how do I insert a new slide? Well, where do I want the slide to go? And you can click in your navigation area where you want it to go. And I'm going to put the insertion point right between 6 and 7 because that's what it tells us, after slide 6. And then to add the new slide, I can do it a couple ways. One, I could right click here and say new slide. Or with the cursor where I want it to be, I could go under the Insert tab, and from the new slide list, I can choose a new slide here. Doing it this way, I get to go ahead and specify the section header type at this point. If I didn't do it that way, if I just done regular insert, I would go under, I would select the slide and do the layout this way to get section header. enter Backyard Gardens as the title placeholder and Next Steps as the text placeholder. So the title placeholder is Backyard Gardens and the text placeholder is Next Steps. Step 9, move slide 8 for more about backyard gardens. Let's confirm that that's slide 8. Yes, it is, for more about backyard gardens. The instructions are to move this so it becomes the last slide in the presentation. And I can do that just by clicking and dragging and dropping it to be the last slide in the presentation. Back to our instructions, we're ready for step 10. On the new slide 8, want to improve your gardening skills? Let me confirm that in my presentation, slide 8, the now slide 8, does in fact say want to improve your gardening skills. Bold the text in the first bullet, talk to other gardeners, to draw attention to this suggestion. So again, triple click to select the entire paragraph, and then under the home, I'll select bold. Step 11. With slide 8 still displaying, in the right content placeholder, insert the picture from the from the file support blah blah blah.jpg available from the SAM website. So to insert this picture, I need to download it from the website. So let me go back to my browser and pull my browser back up. And here's my support image. I'm going to click on this, and again, depending on your browser, it'll ask you to do different things. So when I click on this in my browser, it asks me to save the file. Okay, there we go. It asks me to save this file. And I say save, and it throws it in the downloads. I'm going to open the folder and see that it is here in the downloads. But I want to make sure that I get that file saved and then go back to my presentation and insert it from here. I don't want to insert it from the browser. I want to insert it from PowerPoint. So I've got the file saved. Now I can go into PowerPoint and say pictures, and I can browse to the downloads folder because that's where the image is saved at. Click on it and say insert, and it looks good. Step 12 says to apply the wipe transition with the duration of a ½ second to all the slides in the presentation. So I need to select all the slides in the presentation. If I just click on a slide by itself, I'm only looking at one slide at a time. If I hold the control key down, I can select multiple slides at a time. And if I hold the shift key down, I can select all the slides. Another way that might even be even easier than that is under the Home tab, there is a select option in the editing group, and there's a select all option. So that might even be the easiest way to select all of them. With all the slides selected, go into the transitions and find the wipe transition. I see mine on my screen. If you don't see yours on your screen, click the drop down arrow there and you can see all of the different transitions. So find the wipe transition and change the duration. So again, with all the slides selected, change the duration to be ½ second. So that's ½ second applies to all the wipe transitions on all the slides. Last step, Great Lakes Gardening is updating its marketing materials and wants to keep the design of this presentation as basic as possible. Apply the Office theme to simplify the presentation. Themes are available on the Insert tab. So the Design tab. So in the Design tab, you'll see there's a Themes group. And currently, the little gray outline tells me that I have currently selected the Retrospect theme. But there are other themes here, including this theme option, the Office theme, this theme option, the Facet theme, this theme option, the Integral theme, and in fact, if I want to look at these, there's many, many other themes, and it gives you a preview as you hover over these. You can see the presentation changing. I want to find the theme called Office Theme and apply it. And now my presentation, all my slides have a relatively minimalistic, simple Office theme. Okay, well, we're done. little wrap-up things here. In slide sorter view, your presentation should look like the final figure below. So go back into PowerPoint and select the slide sorter view at the bottom of the page. And in slide sorter view, I'm going to minimize it a little bit so it shows up in 3 columns. I can see that my presentation on the right looks like the figure in the instructions document, so that's good. Save your changes, close your presentation, exit PowerPoint. Okay. So I'm going to go under here and I'm going to save, and I can do that by clicking on the save icon or by clicking under File Save. But I should be saving this as _2 because the very first thing we did before we even started our project was to rename this _2. And I'm going to exit to shut this down. That way I know that I've got PowerPoint closed and my work has been saved. Then I'm ready to go back to the browser and upload my file for grading. So step 3 is the upload link. So click into the upload area and find my file for uploading. Make sure that I know where it's at. I'm in the desktop. So I go to the desktop and there I upload the file name, my name _2. So I select that, open it, and submit it for a grade. I'll get 3 check marks here that tells me that it's been quick review, that it was no viruses, right format, right file size. But to see the results, I go under the Reports tab. Now I have 2 copies here because I submitted one before the video and then I did it again on the video. Check the time to make sure that you're getting the correct one for what you're doing here. And I can't resize this here. I'd have to make it bigger so I can see the times. Make sure you're getting the most recent one. Like here's one at 1:20, here's one at 1:44. So I want to look at the most recent one. Click on the report. Again, depending on your browser, when you click on that report, something different will happen. But eventually you'll get to the PowerPoint a file report of your work. And it has the 9 slides that we had before. But if you scroll down, it's added a 10th slide. And this 10th slide is the summary of your work. And when you open up that newly added slide at the end of your presentation, it'll show you your score, in this case 100 out of 100, which is great. But if it wasn't a perfect score, if it was 95 out of 100 or 85 out of 100, you could scroll down and you could see exactly what you missed. There'd be little red X's by the steps that you missed. And you could look at the steps you missed, make changes, go back to your file. Don't redo the whole project, but go back to the file that you submitted, make changes based on the red X feedback, and submit again. Don't submit this file again. This is just for feedback. Submit the file. If you have to make edits, be sure you go back to the file you were working on and make those changes. Okay, so 100 out of 100. I think we're done with this one. It's all good.